Business and GTM Head, Cloud, DC, and Managed Services. So we would request the moderator and the panelists to please join us on the dais. And so we are live, okay. So we have gone live online. So I would like to introduce once again our panelists and moderator for our audience online. This session is being moderated by Mr. Chiranjeev Bhattacharya. He is the co-chairperson of IT Committee, the Bengal Chamber. In the session, as panelists, we have Mr. Sudhir Kothari, founder and CEO, MB Software Private Limited, Mr. Surjit Singh Sodhi, business development leader, AWS Migration, Amazon Internet Services Private Limited, Dr. Anish Agarwal, head of analytics, Dr. Reddy's Laboratories Limited, and Mr. Anitosh Haldar, business and GTM head, Cloud, DC, and Managed Services. As we mentioned that in the new normal, we are presenting this program in a phygital setup. This program is being presented from Kolkata at the Bengal Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and it is being streamed online in YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. So with this, I would request Mr. Chiranjeev Bhattacharya to please take the session forward.
Hello. Thank you so much, Angna. A very good afternoon once again to all of you, and our sincere gratitude for carving time out and being here with us today. Our esteemed panelists today are Mr. Sudhir Kothari. I will introduce them once again when I come to the discussions. Mr. Anitosh Haldar, Mr. Surjit Singh Sodhi, and Dr. Anish Agarwal. So I'll read out from a McKinsey article, 2021 to begin with. So what they say is, by 2024, most enterprises aspire to have about 8 out of $10, 8 out of $10 for IT hosting go towards the cloud, including private cloud, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. Now, achieving that aspiration will require significant effort both from enterprises and technology providers. The pandemic is one factor driving the ambitious goal, as it triggered the need to speed the pace of enterprise digitization. But the more significant catalyst is the $1 trillion in business value that cloud adoption can unlock. Some organizations, however, are leaking their share of that value instead of capturing value, with inefficiencies in orchestrating cloud migration, adding unexpected costs and unexpected delays. Now, approximately $100 billion of wasted migration spend is expected over the next 3 years, and most enterprises cite the costs around migration as a major inhibitor to adopting the cloud. This is what McKinsey has to say as on 12th October 2021. So is there any way in which the systems integrators can capture some of these opportunities in their journey towards the cloud? A couple of years back, legacy infrastructure used to be the bulk of the IT spend for enterprises. However, the pandemic has changed the scenario and changed the direction, with more organizations planning to move to the cloud. When a survey was conducted with IT decision makers, it was observed that 55% more of IT decision making happened to moving workloads towards the cloud than as per plan. So with the direction set towards cloud, increasingly companies are expected to pick up the pace of the implementation going forward. So let's understand from our experts today how they are strategizing around their businesses, leveraging these cloud opportunities. I would come to Mr. Sudhir Kothari. Mr. Sudhir Kothari has been the founder of MB Software. And MB Software has actually gone through a major cloud transition in the past 7-8 years, contributing hugely towards transformation of enterprise organizations and customer accounts, by virtue of which, in fact, there was a major acquisition, Softline Group of Europe, $1 billion group, right? $2 billion group. They acquired MB Software recently. We'll discuss more about that. So, Sudhir, thank you so much for being here. MB is a large Microsoft partner, and you are a leading partner driving Microsoft cloud transformations, solutions all over India. So what has been your growth trajectory in terms of opportunities for cloud migration?
Thanks, Chiranjeev. Thank you, Bengal Chamber, for having me here. So MB, for example, is MB is a 36-year-old company. Started operations 1986, but our cloud journey started 2014. So we were at a situation where we realized that being in technology currently was not giving any much of return and not much of excitement, and that's when actually the cloud actually started emerging in the radar. So we started our cloud journey 2014, and it's almost 2022 now. In 8 years, we not only started doing only lift and shift and taking customers to cloud, but the opportunity is what CB is asking me, or the growth trajectory has been. We were almost a 250 or 300 crore company in 2014. Today, we are going to be almost 1500, 1600 crore company, and that's the kind of cloud growth which cloud has given to us. This is not only from the top line perspective, also from the perspective from the client and the opportunity for the partners perspective. Cloud actually gives you opportunity to be in multiple areas, so automatically when the moment the customer goes into cloud, multiple opportunities actually open up. Some of the opportunities what previous panelists were talking about, for example, application modernization, refactoring of application, rebuilding of application, or for example, data and AI, it opens up hugely in that area. It opens up in the area of collaboration. It opens up in the area of managed services, for example, optimization, continuous optimization of customers' cloud. So these are some of the areas where probably when we went into cloud, we were just doing cloud licensing in 2014, just reselling the cloud, and we realized that that's not going to sustain our business much more. So we built our entire business. We transformed ourselves completely from being just a cloud provider or a technology provider to a solution provider to the customer. So today our entire practices, we have got practices completely on application modernization, data modernization, data and BI, collaboration, managed services, security. So these are the areas which actually are the growth opportunities which probably for partners and for the customers. Basically, the moment customers go into cloud, they themselves actually start seeing, for their own business, the cloud actually opens up opportunity for them to adopt digital transformation much faster.
Thank you so much, Sudhir. Now that major revenues of MB comes from cloud services, and that the acquisition of Softline is possibly complete or about to be complete, what is your joint growth value proposition? Because this is one major move that you have made with Softline. So how do you look at the future? What is the joint growth
Softline is a $2 billion company, as you said. And they came into India in 2015, basically. When they came into India, they were actually in the acquisition mode, in the sense that they wanted to acquire the market. And they did not actually build the service skills capability in the market in India. So that's where basically MB comes in, and that's why the reason of MB acquisition happened. Now, see, Softline brings in the global brand. They bring in global processes, best practices, and we have the skills, capability, market knowledge. So together, basically from the customer standpoint, we are basically providing completely now end-to-end solution. That's number one. They have got skills basically on the security. They have got SOC services. They have got some of the global delivery center out here. So we get the best practices. And so again, we take it to the customer with that value proposition. The other thing is very important because being a global organization, they are in the acquisition mode also. So recently they've acquired, for example, AWS company, a partner company. So multi-cloud is becoming a very important factor today. Every customers today need multiple, like earlier days when on-premises people used to have both HP, IBM, Dell. Today they want, Azure, AWS and Google, all three or all two running, at least two of them running in their data or in their organization. So basically another area where joint proposition is very important is that how do we actually have multi-cloud skills capability. So the acquisition is going to help both us as well as the customer from the perspective that we want to be a one-stop shop for customers in the multi-cloud area, in the security area, application area, and the data area, and of course all supported by security and managed services completely. So that's the kind of value proposition probably we are going to go in the market in future.
Right. Now, so many organizations, many enterprises are transforming using the drivers like cost leadership, then lesser time to value, operational efficiencies, etc., through cloud service transition. Now, while technology is one very important part, but the other important part is process transformation.
Yeah.
So how are you enabling these enterprises to navigate this kind of process transformation journey?
Very good question. In cloud practice, there's something called cloud adoption framework. Okay. So every company like us, for example, if we want to be strategically engaged with a global organization like Microsoft or AWS, we have to be certified in a cloud adoption framework. Unless we are not, the strategic engagement with customer does not happen. So what is this cloud adoption framework basically? This cloud adoption framework has got 6-7 pillars. One is the strategy, one is the plan and assess, one is the migration, one is the manage, monitor, one is the innovate, optimization, and then of course, all being supported by governance and security. So, we have to first understand, the motivation that you're talking about, customers' motivation, why they want to move to the cloud. It may be because they want to exit the data center, or probably there is the M&A, for example, or the critical IT assets are coming to an end of life, for example, or they want to go very agile in the marketplace, for example. So there are various motivation reasons. We want to understand that first. Once we understand that, then probably we understand their financial understanding, technical understanding, what business outcome they want from cloud transition. So these are basically before actually going into cloud transition, we first understand the customer's need. Then come once we understand that, then we basically want to know what is the digital state they want to be. They actually want to just do a lift and shift, or they want to actually refactor or re-architect or rebuild the entire application, for example. So this is a very important factor to assess and doing the planning for their migration. And once that happens, it's very important that at the customer end also, we need to see that they are skilled, their people are skilled. So we help them in skilling their people also. That's part of the process, because once you hand over to them, they have to actually run the entire thing. So we help them in skilling, we help them in, some of the best practices, adopt some best practices like DevOps and all that. And then actually the migration take place, And once the migration take place, then you have, things like monitoring the migration, and then probably, innovate and continuously optimize, Optimization is a very important factor because unlike hardware kind of on-premise hardware where basic customers buy and they can keep adding application because they have already bought as a capital assets. this is a complete OpEx, and if you don't optimize it, your money is gone, So optimization is a very important factor, and continuously before the migration as well as the after the migration, we have to keep doing the optimization. And then there comes the managed services part, and all is again supported by the pillar of governance, risk and governance, and the security part. So this entire process we handle customers, and this entire, as I said, cloud adoption framework is defined. This framework is a pretty, you have to get certified internationally. You have to get certified, and once this framework is there, the entire migration process, everything becomes very easy.
Thank you so much, Sudhir. I'll come back to you. Mr. Surjit Singh Sodhi, Business Development Leader, AWS Migration, Amazon Internet Services Private Limited. Thank you so much, Sudhir, for being here. As per you, what do you think is the status of cloud adoption in India? What are the issues? What are the drivers in cloud adoption? And how is AWS contributing in managing the sustainability goals also of the customer?
Thanks, Chiranjeev, first and foremost for having me here. So on a lighter note, I agree that AWS has hundreds of services, but does it imply that you will roll 4 questions into one? So number one question was, what is the state of cloud adoption in India? So let me share with you, digital storm is brewing up, whether it is the SMEs, all the SMBs, or enterprises of this world. All of them are trying to cross that proverbial chasm which Geoffrey Moore propounded between the early adopters of technology and the late laggards. So we are seeing a lot of excitement towards cloud. We are seeing a lot of enterprises moving towards the cloud. In fact, technology market in India is the best place to be in. So when it comes to state of adoption, highly the cloud is being adopted, and it is in the mind of enterprises that they want to leverage the various services available. Coming to the second point as to what are the drivers. So if I may say so, the drivers for cloud adoption are contained in the word cloud itself. Let me break that for you. The C in cloud stands for cost reduction. So for any Indian customer, the C is the first and foremost to start. But the typical advantages are more in the business agility part of it. The second alphabet in the word cloud, L, stands for leveraging hundreds of services that are available on a platform. It is impossible to duplicate these services on an on-premise environment. And the third alphabet, O, is the operational resiliency. Now, every enterprise wants to be resilient, and resiliency does not mean that you never fail. Resiliency is the ability to bounce back after a failure. So the way an AWS region, the way an AWS availability zone is architected, you get that resiliency. Coming to the fourth alphabet, C-L-O-U, yes, U. U stands for user experience. So if suppose you are a global company and you have offices in various parts of the globe, you can use the dark fiber of AWS and have a great user experience. You can use the content delivery networks. And coming to the final alphabet, D, D stands for data. Data, I itself says digital analytics transformation arsenal. So setting up a data lake on-premise is very, very difficult. But setting up a data lake on a cloud is a 30-minute job. So the word cloud itself tells you why enterprises are adopting cloud to a huge extent. But then nothing is a fairy tale. There are issues to every part of it. The biggest issue that we see in Indian enterprises is the culture part of it. So Peter Drucker said, culture eats strategy for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's a real fact. People want to go to the cloud, but they also want to run their IT departments, their business transformation in the same old method. And the second important issue in cloud migrations is the lack of executive sponsorship. See, I'm not sure if you know the Parkinson's law of triviality, and that law says that people in any organization are more involved in incidental issues rather than the complex challenges of the primary task. That is where you need an executive sponsor. Where there is no gardener, there is no garden. So for a transformative project like cloud, you need a great executive sponsor, preferably from the business side of things. That is easier said than done. So if you ask me when it comes to cloud migration, these are some of the issues. Coming to the fourth question, basically the fourth part of the single question, sustainability. Now, AWS in 2019 signed the climate pledge. We have almost like pledged $2 billion, and we have pledged that by 2040, we will be net carbon zero, and we will shift to 100% renewable by 2025. And the fact of the matter is, AWS data centers are 3.6 times more energy efficient than on-premise data centers as per a study conducted. And if you spin up a EC2 instance, you can be rest assured you are emitting 88% less carbon than you would emit in an on-premise server. Sorry, I think I took a couple of minutes more, but then you very cleverly rolled 4 questions into one, so I had no option.
Absolutely fine. Thank you so much. So, obviously, for AWS, the industry ecosystem remains critical for this kind of exponential growth. So, obviously, this ecosystem has partners as a very important element. So, how do you strategize your growth with the partners, and how actually would you contribute in the partners' vision, partners' growth, along with your solution offerings, and merge them towards a successful kind of a transition?
So Chiranjeev, this is a very pertinent question, and thanks for asking this. We are very clear as a company that if we have to grow from where we are, we need a very strong partner ecosystem. And to ensure that, we have a partner management team which comprises of partner delivery managers, partner success managers, partner delivery specialists. And the sole purpose in life of a partner delivery manager, for example, is to sit with a partner and to devise business and technical plans. And the second important facet of partner strategy, which has come in 2022, is the partner path. Now, this partner path is a mechanism in which partners can get embedded into AWS ecosystem in a way that aligns their customer offerings in a very optimum manner. And the third important facet, which I would like to share with the audience vis-a-vis partner strategy, is that the service delivery and the competencies. Say, for example, migration competency. I see we have some migration competency certified partners in the room already. Now, what happens is these are very select partners who have kind of fulfilled some stringent criteria and have gone through a rigorous check before being certified as a migration competency certified partner. So when it comes to Amazon Partner Network, which has thousands of partners, not only we are building a healthy ecosystem, but we are also trying to ensure that the quality of our partner ecosystem remains at the highest standards. I hope I...
Yes. Thank you so much. Now, with increasing business complexities and increasing ambitions of enterprises to grow, obviously there is a need for skill development. Now, either the enterprises need to build skills, or they need to hire afresh, or they need to outsource it to possibly systems integrators or equivalent. So what would be your strategy going forward for this kind of a skill development and ensuring customer support, training, knowledge dissemination?
So one of the biggest roadblock in cloud adoption, as you rightly said, is the lack of skills. And I like to quote our senior leadership here only last month when our APJ leadership and our Indian leadership said, so AWS is happy to share with you that we have trained almost 2 million individuals in cloud skills. Not only that, we have a stated goal of training 27 million individuals more, because all the dreams of 5 trillion digital economies, if they have to work out, then we need to have those skills. So we have a training and certification team which comes out with these programs. And if it helps the audience, we have programs like AWS Educate, AWS Restart. Now these are self-paced learnings as well as labs are there. And AWS Restart, for example, is a program which has been devised for people who want a change in employment or who are kind of unemployment and want to involve themselves in the digital ecosystem. Coming to customers and partners, we have what is known as a learning need analysis. Now this is a pro bono exercise which is done by a training and certification team. They sit with the customers, try to identify what the skill gaps are, and come out with customized training programs. One more important facet of the training and certification strategy of AWS is to make it as cost neutral as possible. So what we have a program which is known as Learn to Earn. Now what happens is every dollar that you invest in learning, almost 50% of that is returned back to you as service credits. But the latest announcement that I like to share with all your audience and listeners is we have come out with a gamification based learning experience which is known as Cloud Quest. And it is a series of quests. Each and every quest that you do in this gaming ends with a skill that you acquire. So I'll highly encourage you, whosoever wants to try, please have a look at it. And if there are any issues, I'll be happy to cooperate.
Great, thank you so much. I'll come back to you. Dr. Anish Agarwal, thank you so much for being here with us. Dr. Anish Agarwal is the head of analytics, Dr. Reddy's. So, Dr. Agarwal, you've possibly taken over recently as the head of analytics for Dr. Reddy's and be spearheading the analytics COE of this pharma company. AI, machine learning, they are already creating so much of disruption in the business models and are possibly transforming the way medical sciences are evolving. So what kind of opportunities do you think this will create for the industry in terms of cloud services, especially for your industry? And are you seeing a shift from product to services already because of this kind of a disruption?
Okay, that's a great question, and good evening, everyone. Pleasure to be part of this panel. I'll answer the questions a little bit insequentially. I'll first take the cloud side of the story.
Sure.
So, as alluded by other members of this panel, cloud adoption is also one of the most important areas that pharma industry is looking at. For obvious reasons, as were explained by Mr. Sodhi. I think cost is one aspect, fungibility of data and availability of data is another aspect. And given majority of enterprises today are transnational and have presence across every country in the world, it is important that data is not just available, but there is a high level of resilience. That's second. And the third is the data also conforms to the local regulatory guidelines and standards as mandated by various countries, be it GDPR from a EU standpoint, any privacy law from a North America standpoint, and possibly upcoming data protection bill from an India perspective as well. Cloud adoption is important. We have this as one of the most important actionable and mandate as a part of our overall data strategy. That's one. I think once our data is available, that is when it will really equip any organization to even run core data and analytics. And machine learning apparently is on a higher curve from a maturity standpoint. So availability of data is the second. Now let's take a step back and see how does a pharma and healthcare or life science enterprise really works. There are multiple parts of the operating model. The first, of course, and rather the biggest side is the manufacturing. Because unless we manufacture pills, unless we manufacture injectables, we will not have any customers, we will not have any products to sell. That's one. And given manufacturing is one of the most important aspects, it is important that we digitize the processes to aggregate data points which actually make sure that our manufacturing processes are far more linear and efficient. That's one. Once the products are manufactured, the second important aspect is the quality and supply chain. So we need to really ensure that all these sub-processes within quality and supply chain also are digitized, which actually helps us to get the right level of data sets and data points to fine-tune. Second, to ensure the quality is as per the regulatory standards. That's second. And third, from a supply chain perspective, we need to ensure there is limited or no leakage and the overall inventory and the entire chain is efficient, right? From the point in time when the goods leave the production plant to the point in time when it reaches a distributor and from distributor to the end pharmacist. That's the third point. If you look at how machine learning and AI is actually enabling the pharma health ecosystem or the overall landscape, I think there are multiple use cases and points which can be looked at. So first, of course, as I said, manufacturing being one of the most pivotal points. From the data that we aggregate from the MES systems, which actually helps, which is a combination of IoT and the sensors and 5G, yeah, and which the sensors which actually aggregate a lot of points from a production standpoint helps us to check the health of a machine, which means that in an event there is any challenge with the production plant, the plant manager gets notified. It's an alert-based system. That's one. The second is from machine learning perspective. From what used to be experiments in terms of molecule identification, i.e. the most suitable molecule which could be perfect for a new combination in a drug. Historically, a lot of experiments had to be done in lab. What that meant was a molecule was put to permutation and combination with various set of chemicals. Now we can actually simulate those experiments in a virtual setup using machine learning algorithm because we have the historical data set. We can simply train the model basis the chemical composition that we would want to expose the molecule to, and there you go, you have the result in a couple of hours as opposed to a couple of months. That's the second bit. The third is, let's understand, one of the biggest challenges which a pharma industry faces is there is no direct definition of who my customer is. Because I cannot directly interact with the patient and ask the patient, did you like the taste of my pill? Was the pill effective? Would you like to have more? No, I can't take that voice of customer or speak to the customer directly. What that means is I have to baseline my production on a certain set of assumptions that there would be X number of pills required at a particular point in time and in a particular region in the country. And that's not helpful. So who do I define my customer as? Of course, the doctor is my customer. But again, if I ask doctor, will you be able to prescribe my medicine? The doctor may say yes or no. And even if he or she says yes, there's no way I can validate that. My second set of customer could be the pharmacist who actually sells the medicine. But again, for that, I'll have to ask my medical representative to physically walk into the pharmacy, ask the pharmacist how many prescriptions were received of this particular dosage or injectable. That's the second bit. And I think the third set of customers who we have would be from a B2B standpoint, the hospitals, whom we directly sell certain injectables or drugs or other equipment. And again, these are all need-based or user-based. So how do I really define my customer? I still don't know. That's the gap. However, what I can really do is, if I digitize my processes, I can really create certain touch points which actually generates a lot of data. So for example, when a medical representative visits a doctor, can I make that process more efficient and generate data? I think I can, yes. So as an example, we designed an app which actually is available for the medical representatives. Right when at the start of the day, when the medical rep logs into the app has by default using machine learning algorithm mapped the specialty of the doctor whom the rep needs to visit, and has also mapped the corresponding medication or the medicine or the pill which the rep needs to pitch to the doctor. Now, when the rep is talking to the doctor, the app apparently records the conversation as well. And while the conversation is in progress, it translates the speech to text, generates a score on a scale of 1 to 5 for the doctor, basis a conversation where if the doctor would have said, yes, I'm supportive, I will prescribe this medicine, the score could be potentially 5. If the doctor says, no, I'm not interested, the score could potentially be 1. So within that 3 to 4 minutes of conversation, a lot happens in the background in that app, and a score gets generated for a MR to understand whether he or she should be visiting the doctor next or not. That's how we've digitized one of the processes. Then comes a lot of need for predictive analytics or decision science or data science as an example, which is more from a enterprise solution standpoint. Given we are a global organization, it is important that we have a view of how our peers and competitors are working. And we also participate in certain bids as well, which happen in countries outside India as well. Now, for us, for any organization to win a bid, it is important that you have you have an understanding of what could be the ideal price of the product that you are bidding for. We've designed a machine learning based algorithm which actually helps us to predict what should be the ideal and the possible value of a particular product that should be put as a part of the bid document, which increases the win rate. So these are some of the use cases. Back to you.
Thank you. Now to utilize AI, machine learning, big data based forecasting to be able to present visual data and market trends to your relevant stakeholders, how would you create a strategy around that? Would you like to do it yourself, or would you like to utilize systems integrators or do a partnering strategy? How would you do that?
So I think this has to be an all-inclusive process. So to start with, if we were to really make sure that the data that we have in hand is visually appealing, is illustrated visually, I think first and foremost, what is more important is to gather the stakeholder requirements. What exactly from a stakeholder standpoint they would like to see in the data. I personally believe gone are the days when we would actually simply limit the data visualization to an Excel or a Excel chart. That's about it. Today, the stakeholders need more interactive data, more real-time data, more current data. And we do work with certain partners, PwC being one of our leading partners as well, we work with. And as a part of the conversation that we have with the stakeholders, what we do is we conduct something called belief audit. What that means is if as an end user, what is the right set of data they would want. Now, from a data and analytics perspective, being a custodian of data, I can very well generate 10 different charts. But end of the day, if those charts hold no meaning for the end user, there is no point the chart should be there. That's one. The second is we need to ensure that the data that's put in the charts is more current, trying to put more real-time view of the data. That's the second bit. And I think the third most important is my data able to generate insights as well? It is not just limited to a number in a pie chart or a percentage or a bar graph. What are the level of insights the data is generating? So as an example, if I was to draw or build a dashboard in Tableau or Power BI, whichever application I'm using, is my dashboard intuitive enough or capable enough to calibrate today's data versus yesterday's data? And if there is a delta, by default triggers an alert or an email to the senior members of the executive committee that we see there is a peak or a trough, there is an outlier, you may need to review that data. Now that's an actionable. It will be better if there is somehow I embed an element of natural language generation, NLG, within my dashboard, which auto generates a commentary as well that there is a trend emerging in the last 7 days because the sales are dipping because I see your cost of marketing is going up. Now, if those sort of intuitive insights are generated, the dashboard will be rather more valuable for not just for the stakeholders, but for the business alike.
Thank you so much. So today's intelligent decision making possibly depends a lot on predictive as well as prescriptive analytics. That is what we understand. Now, to actually take full advantage of this, possibly machine learning operations are being built. So how do you think these kind of machine learning operations are being built across the industry?
So machine learning ops or ML ops is an important bit. It not just helps us to standardize or achieve a level of uniformity or standardization with regards to how a machine learning algorithm or a code is set up. I think it also answers a lot of challenges which possibly may originate because of an element of biasness in the system as well. That's second. The third is it also helps the data scientists to dedicate and devote more time on fine-tuning the algorithm as opposed to simply rewriting a specific code again and again. And I think the fourth and most important aspect is it actually embeds the right level of accountability and ownership from a perspective if at all there is anything goes wrong. So ML ops is going to be the way forward. But I think there is a very thin underlying sentiment which is originating, which is around the auto ML side of the story, which means there are softwares or applications which have the ability to auto generate a specific algorithm or a code, which means there is a undercurrent or a value or a sense that we may not need as many data scientists as we need today. Well, the fact is we would need as many data scientists, rather more data scientists in future as well. To one of the other examples where while the machine does a lot of work, we would still need the human mind to not just strategize, but also to fine tune how machine works. Back to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'll come back to you.
Sure.
We have Anitosh Haldar, Business Head, DC Cloud and Managed Services, CFI Technologies Limited. Thank you once again, Anitosh, for being able to join us today. So CFI is India's most comprehensive ICT service and solutions provider. With cloud at core, CFI heralded this internet revolution in India and led the transformation through the enterprise-focused model. So what are the innovations that you are bringing in for your customers and the industry, given your long-time presence in this market?
Yeah, thank you, Chiranjeev, and thanks. Good evening, everyone. So I will just start with take the technology part of investment a bit later. The most important part in cloud, digital adoptions, whatever we're hearing today, is that as an organization, how we are transforming into more business related to our client. That is the most important part, right? Because there will be several industries when they're adapting any IT transformation. And even today, if you look at the Conclave name, it's business IT. It's no more just technology IT. It is business related to IT transformation, correct? And that is the first transformation we are bringing within our DNA. So as an organization, we are now thinking on the other hand that on the boardroom discussions, the priorities the industries or the clients are taking, how we can align to it. Like Mr. Agarwal just mentioned about the cloud adoption of their organization. We were the partner for them to take them to the hyperscaler, which is AWS. The business continuity plan that we took and migrated them to the cloud, it was not easy. So like in life science industry today, quality is a very, very important part, right? If you don't understand the quality framework, if you don't understand their FDA approval process, which is very important for the life science and pharma industries, you cannot create a framework for a cloud which is resilient towards that business. And then comes the technology part of it, correct? So the first and foremost transformation we as an organization has done is we have become more outcome oriented. Okay. The second point is the investment that we are doing on the technology side. And as you know, we were the first private internet provider in the country, right? And every time CFI has taken a step, it is a transformation. So from a private internet provider to a DC host, and then become a telecom player, and then becoming a major SI to a major one of the biggest cloud service provider today in the country, right? The transformation we took or the investments we are doing in this line is one way our business with the carriers, that is majorly towards the hyperscalers, the learning that we have of managing them into our data center, how we are building them to the industry adoptions and helping our clients to fast track it. So the investments, like Mr. Sodhi said, on the skill sets it's happening because it's an ongoing process that we have to do with the partners like AWS, Google or Azure. The other way around is that what we are building over there, correct? So very important part, again, we divided the discussion into two parts there. One is the business view of creating revenue stream for our customers. The other point is that how we are making the operational efficient. And as Mr. Kothari said that the platform, multi-cloud management platform is becoming very, very important. And that's true because the power of cloud has become such that it needs to be, the unleash of we have to unleash the power of the cloud platform for different usage. And the most important part of multi-cloud adoption is how we will make the operations very easy. So that's where we invested and we came out with a platform which we call as a cloud management platform, right? And it's a multi-cloud management platform, not only on the hyperscalers, it can also take care of the private cloud point of view. The second investment, which we did drastically is taking our footprint much higher on the data center side. We were at 11 data centers, hyperscale ready data centers today. Now in next 1.5 years, we will become 20. So we're doubling up, ramp up. So the kind of business that we see, the adoptions on cloud that is happening, that hyperscale data center investment is going almost double. And the last investment that we have planned and we are moving towards, we are really becoming a digital enhancement company. We are not a digital services company. We are enhancing our clients to take the digital adoption much faster. So we are bringing industry-led solutions like a bank in a box types. Or maybe we are going to the retail companies, understanding their business point of view, and we are bringing this business outcome as a service point of view. In one of the example comes to my mind, the largest power company today, utility company in India, the entire billing runs on our cloud. Okay, so that is on a transaction based model that we are going to add. So that in nutshell, Chiranjeev, the transformation we are building on the business side is more industry led. And to support that kind of transformation, we are putting much more investment on skill sets and platforms and tools. And obviously automation is the way to go, and that's what we are focused on.
Thank you. Thank you. You mentioned about hyperscalers. So with hyperscalers and so many companies entering this particular market, would you like to add anything about your business model change or anything that you are creating to differentiate your services constantly? Anything specific on this?
So there is no change in the business model. It's very simple, and it's we are happy to see the hyperscaler growing, because that means the understanding of cloud has grown up. So our sales cycles has gone down. So that's thanks to the hyperscalers. Second point is that today CFI also have their own cloud. It's called Cloud Infinite Plus, right? So we are complementing to the hyperscalers, right? Like if a secondary, if a primary zone is within a hyperscaler, the secondary zone can be with us. Or if a kind of an industry-led service model we have to build on a platform like AWS, or like we already have with AWS, our own dealer management system, which is called Forum as a service, it is hosted on AWS. So those kind of services we can build, and we are creating as a use model with them. So it is basically fast tracking our market share gain also. It's more complementing rather than.
Yeah. See, cost optimization as well as operational efficiency, we understand that they are key drivers for the industry to migrate to cloud. Now, from a business value perspective, what would be the key value drivers of CFI for this digital transformation? Given the fact that each industry has their own strategy to migrate to cloud, or each industry follows a different approach towards cloud. What would be your key value drivers for this digital transformation?
See, as a CFI, what we have done is that, where I started, I will want to go back. We have taken 2 steps back and first want to understand the business outcome our partners or clients are trying to achieve, correct? And accordingly, because cloud is an architecture, right, which needs to be built on the outcome that will come up. So we are assessing, and we have invested hugely on some tools to first assess and then create a design and architecture around it so that can be enabled. Now, once that part of the things is done, then comes the migration. And that's where we have again invested in a lot of tools where we are bringing the seamless migration pretty easily. The unique part that we are building there is that our hyperscale connect, the cloud connect that we have in our data centers, right, which brings down drastically the RPO and RTO pretty less, correct? In milliseconds, I will call it out. So that also we are taking care and transforming while migrating, somebody to cloud. The third part, which I was mentioning, the cloud management platform, it is just not a management of multi-clouds. And I don't use the word called cost optimization, while that has to be. There's something called, before that is called cost control. And before cost control is your visibility about your usage policy. So that tool basically gives you day in, day out visibility of what exactly you're using. That basically first builds the pattern of your usage, and that creates a cloud policy. The moment we help our customers to reach there, then we start putting the the cost control point of view, which automatically brings the optimization services. That helps today a CIO or CTO's discussion that my budget was 100%, you have brought it down by 20%. So use the 20% for the innovation, which we can do with Dr. Agarwal, right? That's how we look at it.
Thank you so much, Anitur. I would request our esteemed panelists to deliver one key message each to the industry stakeholders. When I say industry stakeholders, I mean it can be cloud service providers, managed service providers, customer accounts, partners, anybody in the ecosystem who can benefit from this one key message from each one of our esteemed panelists. So, Sudhir, would you kindly deliver one key message?
I think for customers, we are learning from customers throughout. So what can I give message to customers? But yeah, I think, every company is now going to become a digital company. I think it's a very clear thing in the next 8 to 10 years time. So from the, partner perspective or solution provider perspective, it's very important that constant transformation is part of your DNA, because gone are those days where probably you can stick to one kind of model of business and continue with it. I think it's very important that to be relevant, to stay in business, constant, upgrading yourself, upskilling your organization is becoming very important. The technology is moving ferociously, very fast, ferociously at a speed which we can't imagine. So I think for all solution providers who are still looking, and second of all, very important, in a cloud world, nothing is small. I've experienced in the last 8 years' time that a small customer becomes very large customer, very large customer. So respect every customer, small customers, especially people who are trying to start business, who are trying to start a cloud services business or want to migrate to cloud services. Take small business with a lot of care and build on that those businesses. I think this is one of the key messages since we are talking about from cloud transformation perspective.
Thank you so much, Sudhir. Sudhiji.
So my key message will be that please don't confuse between change and transformation. So if I may use the animal kingdom analogy, a snake shedding its skin is change, but a caterpillar turning into a butterfly, that is transformation. So when you go to the cloud, you lift and shift your on-prem servers to the cloud, that I'll categorize it as change. Until and unless you use the native capabilities of the cloud, you use 200, 300 odd services which are available to you, plug into your decision making, plug into your insight, that will cause the real transformation. Always remember, cloud is a capability, it's not a destination. People think that it's a destination for their on-prem servers, that it is, but the real benefit is the innovation that it brings. So don't confuse between change and transformation, and consider cloud as a capability, not a destination. This will be my key message for all of you.
Thank you so much. Dr. Agarwal, please.
So I'll keep it short and sweet. I would say look at cloud adoption as an investment, not as a cost. Back to you.
Anitos.
So I will put it very straight that there are two parts of a cloud adoption. One is called day one and second is day two. Always we think about the day two and we forget this day one piece, which is creating the right design for the right business outcome. If that is fundamentally correct, day two will happen and the business outcome will come.
Thanks a lot. Thank you so much. So with 15 years into this cloud revolution, it's very evident that there is value in moving to the cloud. More than $1 trillion just for the Fortune 500 companies. And much of this value has been derived from business innovation and optimization, besides market reach and penetration, rather than only cost optimization. Now, each business has its own strategic intent to move to the cloud, and each of them have their own journey. They can begin at different stages and evolve to the migration at scale. As confidence grows and builds on the cloud, we hope organizations will also evolve their strategy, approach, and execution into this cloud transition. My sincere thanks to each of the esteemed panelists, a sincere gratitude to the learned audience for being with us here. We had a thought-provoking discussion on the opportunities that the entire ecosystem can leverage with this cloud transition. Thank you all for this valuable insights. With this, I think we would conclude this panel discussion. Thank you.